So the Metropolitan Detention Center, even though it is relatively new, is a horrible, decrepit, and dangerous facility. It's frequently without heat. It is frequently having leaking plumbing, vermin, bugs, and rats. It is just physically incredibly poor shape for a new building. It is also a very dangerous place. And the danger comes from the fact that basically every federal defendant who is awaiting trial in New York is housed there. So unlike people post-sentencing where they get divided into maximum, medium, and low security, you basically have everybody mixed together. Any high-profile defendant is going to be at risk because prisoners often want to build a reputation by going after somebody. A high-profile defendant who is believed to have access to a lot of money will be at risk because they will be potentially the victims of somebody trying to extort them for money. It also is likely true that given the fact that President Trump has said that Maduro is effectively the leader of TDA, Tren de Aragua, that any gang member who's in there whose gang has a beef with TDA will look to potentially take it out against Maduro or his wife. So all of these things make it a very dangerous situation for Maduro in particular. The Metropolitan Detention Center is run by the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and it is where the federal government stores all pretrial detainees, everybody awaiting trial, who do not get let out on bail. So that is American citizens, that is people who are resident aliens, and it is foreigners. No matter who you are, if you're going to trial in New York, you're going to be housed at MDC. Sean Combs was housed at the MDC during the roughly 1 year between his arrest and his being sentenced. Ghislaine Maxwell, the co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein, was there for well over a year while she went through trial and then sentencing. There have been a lot of very high-profile defendants. The FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried was there. So anybody who you've seen who has been on trial in federal court in New York over the last decade or so, unless they were out on bail, would have been housed at MDC.
Okay. Can we let the post?
never even thought that I couldn't do anything. So she made me kind of crazy in a good way. So, you know.
Ocean-related issues, and will then empower the representatives in the United Nations to take the hard decisions that they need.
So I've seen some writing that it has been improved, but there is a lot of space to go, and going from dreadful to awful is an improvement, but it is still not good. Nobody I know would want to be doing time at MDC. I have had clients who have been doing time at some of the most notorious prisons in New York, Attica, Auburn, Sing Sing, and they they literally cannot wait to get out of MDC and return to those prisons because they consider time at MDC to be much worse. It is amazing how bad of a facility it is, given that it is, I think, at most 50 years old. I mean, there are prisons in America that are 150 years old that are in much better condition. So one thing that people sometimes ask is, well, can't they just protect him by putting him into either protective custody or solitary confinement? The issue with those two things is, number one, protective custody is ordinarily where they keep child molesters and people who are thought of to be cooperating witnesses, also known as rats. And that is a really unpleasant way to be spending time. And solitary confinement is, while physically safe, it is mentally torture. In fact, the UN defines extended solitary confinement as a form of torture. Extended periods of time in solitary confinement will break just about any individual. Now, with the upcoming trial, Maduro and his wife likely will frequently be meeting with their attorneys, and that sort of human contact helps ameliorate the harshness of solitary confinement. But solitary confinement is not a good thing for a human being.